kind of embarrassing to admit, but it happened to me. I was going for a walk, casually exercising as I normally do 3 times a week. A nice SUV with a couple people inside pull up and they start trying to ask a question. I can't quite make out exactly what they're saying because I'm trying to ignore them. They lower their window and they get just a tad bit closer, and I start to make out what they're saying. They're in a situation where they lost their documents. They're here in the US, they're from Dubai, and they're pleading with me, asking me for help to give them money so they can start making their way to New York to the embassy for Dubai. I reject their first offer when they ask for assistance, and then they start trying to offer me their belongings, and it was quite convincing. I couldn't decline helping them out. I wanted to offer all the help that I could. Their story was so convincing when they offered me the jewelry that I actually stepped into their vehicle and they drove me to the Bank of America that was closest to us. I pulled out $1,000 and I actually gave them the $1,000. Upon me giving him the $1,000, I was sitting there with a pit in my stomach knowing that that was half of all the money that was in my bank account. I really believed them and I wanted to help. Yeah, I was doing some research and I got scammed.
Earlier this year, we shared a story about the growing epidemic of overseas online scammers.
The FBI about QR code scams.
Now the latest scams that are sweeping the country.
Warning for Americans heading into the fall about scams.
She fell victim to a romance scam.
Scammers.
Scams.
Scam.
I'm a retired special agent with Homeland Security Investigations.
My name is Andrew Morrill, and I am a fraud investigator for a local financial institution. What led me to become a fraud investigator is the interest of check fraud, the interest of different various types of fraud that I encountered years ago, and just wanting to learn more about it and become more involved with the detection of fraud.
At Homeland Security, I was a special agent for the last 22 years. I was primarily responsible for financial investigations, which involved financial fraud.
Fraud is the act of stealing someone's identity or money from an individual. The agencies we work with the most lately have been with the FBI because of the amount of wire fraud we have been encountering.
As far as fraud investigations, as far as the timeline for how you investigate it, usually might start with a local police officer pulling someone over on the side of the road, discovering some type of financial fraud. Or on the largest scheme on the federal side, we would work mostly with the IRS and FBI on task force type situations.
The most common type of fraud that we encounter right now is check fraud. Check fraud is the most popular one right now because it's so easy to obtain. As checks are stolen from the mail. They use those stolen checks to create fake checks. Once you have an account number and a bank routing number, you can use that information to make fake checks. So checks is probably the most common one right now.
The largest areas for the financial fraud outside the United States is usually China, Hong Kong. Those have the larger cryptocurrency platforms, India.
The one thing I wish the public would know more about fraud is that don't believe everything you see.
And look for, if it's someone that you don't know, that you're not in contact with, that just randomly pops up. Immediately, if it's a WhatsApp, a text message, just delete it and report it.
People unfortunately become too complicit and just rely too much on what they see, don't really follow up appropriately.
We've got a consumer alert for you this morning. Florida's chief financial officer is warning people about a rise in reported scams and fraud cases.
Vehicle fraud is on the rise in our area, but so are arrests.
Fraud. Southwest Florida is seeing more cases of people stealing your personal information so they can collect your tax return.